Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to Hands Across the Water. Anyone who normally listens to us, obviously, this is a different time than normal. We do our Monday 5 o'clock slot, but we bit different today. Obviously, during the holidays, and all of us here who's on the pod today are all working fathers, so we're just trying to work around kids and stuff and partners, and everyone's smiling. See, he's both smiling there because he's know what it's like, lads. Same as myself. But it's great to have Stevie Clifford with us here today. Really honoured to have you on, mate. Baz as well. We've been buzzing for this, mate, as have the viewers. So thank you, Stevie, for coming on, mate. Appreciate this.
No, look, first of all, thanks very much for. Did you invite me? Did I invite myself on? I can't quite remember how it kind of happened. But, look,
Yeah,
delighted to be here. Delighted to speak to you guys. And look, I think honestly, I've always said this: the more Rangers kind of things out there for people to look at and watch and everything else is great. And you guys have done such a wonderful job with building your community. So delighted to come on and speak to you and talk about Rangers, our favourite subject.
100%, mate. Thank you. Baz, yourself, mate, how have you been keeping? You've been away for a few days as well, mate, with the kids and stuff.
I had to take a couple of the kids away for a few days there down in one of Donegal. Got the legs burnt off me, so I went down to the beach. It's not my type of thing, Stevie, but I went down to appease the children, and I come back with two lobster legs, so that was a bit tight for a couple of days there, but I'm all right now, all good.
That's good, mate. Stevie, what about yourself? And we were watching you down at the training. That must have been some experience, mate. I've seen some of your videos and stuff. You and David put a wee video up together. You're like two Cheshire cats down there enjoying yourselves. It was great.
Well, listen, see, the thing is, me and David are quite close, and I don't think if I hadn't have went, I don't think Davey would have went, and if Davey hadn't have went, I don't think I would have went. But I took the car down. We drove down and had a great time. The experience, getting to see that kind of level of insight into the club was fantastic. Russell Martin and all the staff made us extremely welcome, and but to get to see training, is because you don't see that. You get your wee burst of training videos and stuff like that, but you don't actually get to see what they do and what they practice and how they speak to each other and things like that. And it was a lovely insight. Really, really, really privileged. So don't take any of it for granted. And we had a great time on the way back. Though it did take us nearly 8 hours to get home because Oasis were playing at Heaton Park, weren't they? And then on the
Oh
journey
yeah.
back, we hit Manchester. So the sat nav kind of took us all the way around Manchester and Liverpool. So we were going miles, but we weren't getting any closer to home. So for David and I, and it was so warm, but that was a small downside into what was a great couple of days. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope everybody enjoyed the kind of coverage that David and I done down there. A lot of kind of interviews with Russell and got to speak to Manny Fernandez and Tello Asgard and stuff like that, and Lyle Cameron as well. So a lot of good stuff, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyable.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Stevie, on the signings and stuff we've made at the minute, then, mate? Because me and Baz, it seems to be just from the outside looking in. Defensively, we've had a problem for a long time. We've been very weak for a start, especially when it comes to the corners and stuff when it's coming towards us, towards our box. And it seems to be we've sort of tried to get defenders in with that height. With the 6'3" defender now, 6'4", and also we've got now the wingers coming in. We've got players like Asgard and stuff in the midfield with that bit of flair. Hopefully, they can also help us offensively break down these low blocks. So it seems to be so far so good that way. On paper that we're sorting out the issues, but with you down in training and stuff, I don't know if you've noticed a difference yourself there when it comes to the sort of players we've been bringing in.
Well, it's an interesting question because I think we would all agree that we lost too many games last year and lost points in too many games where we were bullied and we weren't strong enough, not only physically but mentally, to kind of handle the pressure of playing for Rangers. And that's no disrespect to the teams that did take points off us, but we shouldn't be losing the volume of points that we did last season to the teams that we did. So there was a real physical thing there. I think you're right. I think we've addressed that. There's a lot of physicality in the team being brought in, but also like Asgard and Rothwell, they're 6'1", 6'2", but they can actually play football. They're not just hatchet men. I think that's important. Yeah, there's imposing figures at the back in Fernandez and Giga, but again, hopefully, I would hope that these boys would fit in and kind of be able to play football as well, which I'm sure they can. So it's an interesting one. How many times at corner kicks? I think we went 150 corners without even scoring a goal last year, and that sort of thing needs to stop. And those are the kind of situations. It's the fine margins, boys, that we need to close. And in my opinion, that we need to close in order for us to get to where we want to be, and they can make the difference. And when you're not offering any threat, then that's obviously problematic. But I feel like we've addressed those things, and it's almost like we put the spine of the team in first. Rothwell's going to be your 6, Asgard's going to be your 8. Then you've got Diamande, Raskin, people, and even Bayrami, who's suddenly back in the frame, is kind of that your midfield's strong. Centre backs have got Manny Fernandez, have got Giga. Now you'd probably look, for another one in there. Aarons has came in to help fullback. You'd probably even want a left back in at some point as well. So there's still work to be done, but I feel like the spine of the team's kind of coming together. And if you'd spoken to me on Monday, I would have been really disappointed because I said, boys, look, I really think we need more wingers in. We need something happening in the final third of the pitch. But with Gassama arriving, I'm still hopeful of another winger. If we can get 1 or 2 more in, centre back and a winger, I think we'd be doing really well. 7 have come in already, and I think they're good signings. But Gassama has picked me up a wee bit, I would say that, boys, because I really did feel that we were short in the final third. And even in training, you could see everything was nice up until a point, and then you're looking for that trickery, you're looking for that little spark, that little injection. And we haven't had it in our team for a long time, so I'm hoping that this young fella, and it's a lot of pressure on him, can come in. I'm hoping Cortez can get fit as well, with how likely, and we'll need to wait and see with that one. But if you can get another winger in there, I'm starting to think that it's all coming together a wee bit. But what do you think, Baz? Because I haven't really asked you anything yet, mate, and I don't want to take this is your guy podcast. I don't want to come in and be like, hogging all the chat. So what I think, winger or 2, and we'll be there and thereabouts. But I'm excited by the boy Gassman. He makes me feel a wee bit better than what we've got.
No, Stevie, your contribution is fantastic. You talk a lot better than I do. It was interesting you said about the mentality, because I was thinking there, Stevie, as you were saying that, last year when we did score from corners, it was one of our smallest guys that got the header, which was Nico Raskin. So it's not just about having somebody at 6'4", 6'5". It's just about the right delivery and the players having the right mentality in the box to go and win it, and the desire to win the ball and actually score. So as much as I think the 6'3" and the 6'4" guys will help, and they will help massively with the height, I think you're right, Stevie. The mentality has to be there. That desire to win. My only issue was sometimes the desire to win only really happened in the Celtic games and the European games. When we played sometimes against the lesser teams, we didn't have that same strong mentality. And I've been very, very pleased to hear you talking about when you and David were down there and you were watching training and you were seeing things and you're seeing more positivity. For a Rangers fan, from likes of myself, that's a massive positive, because this season we have to break down the quote smaller teams, because last season I did notice when we were playing in Europe and we were playing against them, we were there we felt like we could win the games, but when it came on a Saturday, maybe against away to St Mirren or away to Motherwell, we struggled. And as a Rangers fan, I was actually more worried about them games than it was the bigger games. So hopefully with the new guys that's come in, and with Russell Martin's new regime and new tactics, I'm hoping that those games will be the games that we would start looking forward to and actually go in and winning maybe 2-3-0. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Steve.
Well, look, I think you make a really good point with regards to the mentality thing, and I would honestly, I think this kind of goes slightly deviating away when you think about somebody like Mohamed Diamande. To your point on the bigger games, I thought Mohamed Diamande in European games against Celtic and things was excellent, but then likewise would struggle in those games like St Mirren you've talked about. And I really like Mohamed Diamande. I think he's an excellent player, really good footballer, but he's not consistent enough. And I think that kind of spoke volume for our whole team. But what happened last year to us was something that we have to fix, which was that, and this isn't meaning to sound disrespectful, and everybody will have their own opinion on our squad players and things, I don't mind. But I felt that some of our squad players and guys who should be squad players for Rangers became vital first team players. And when you think of the levels that they are, they're suddenly playing 50 games for us. And they can't maintain that, and they can't be those players that we need them to be. So that's where it becomes really difficult for Rangers. And I think what Russell Martin has to do, and it won't be easy, is because he's already got a massively bloated squad, is that he has to find a way to ensure that the guys that we think are squad players, and then better them. And it's been a long time, boys, as well, since we've actually signed players that are better than the players that they're replacing to go in and make a difference in the first team. But I feel like Asgard, Rothwell, Giga, Gassama are better players than we have. I think that Manny Fernandez and Lyle Cameron will be squad players, and I think that's okay. I think it can be comfortable. Fernandez is like a work in progress, as is Lyle Cameron. But being a squad player, you can still make a massive contribution. So I'm with you on the mentality thing, and that's what I was trying to reference with Diamandi in terms of it's a squad thing, not only just. And I think that's a really good point that you made. So yeah, I agree with you. We need to. It's easy to say it, and how many managers have we listened in to say we need to win and we have to win? But there needs to be that right mentality to go and get it. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything you guys are saying there, and it's as I say, it's mentality and mixed with quality as well. And I honestly think the quality of the players that we're bringing in is quite good. The likes of the Rothwell one, twice down in the championship, he's been with Leeds and Southampton, getting them both teams promoted back to back. And that championship at that level, when you're trying to win every week, it's tough. So the likes of that mentality coming into the club's good. I think that's a bit of a coup for Rangers getting the likes of Rothwell. And Asgard looks very promising, and the likes of him and Cameron and other players will help Stevie. I think the likes of Diamandi, when instead of having to play every single game and demanding too much of them, you can give them breaks. Wherever last season you were relying on these players. I think there was a couple of games last season away from home, especially in the league, we kept Raskin back just to try and keep him fit for like a European game coming up. But you notice after half time, without him in the midfield, you had nothing else. So he had to come back on, and the games were already gone. And you can't keep at Rangers Football Club, Stevie, be relying on players like Raskin only. You can't be taking him off against Dundee away from home and everything going like a car crash because he's not on the field. That's just not Rangers Football Club. So I think it's good to see Russell Martin actually building a bit of depth in the squad now with quality in the midfield, so you can give people time off, but you're expecting the likes of Cameron to go, right, here's your chance now, so you're in, go and prove you're as good as these guys. I think that'll help us as the season goes on. But we're getting a lot of questions here, Stevie, on the striker front from the Journaler, as well as a few others asking, Jeff Morrison as well, but the strikers, like, I know you like Danilo, I've seen you before, and I think Danilo will come good, mate. If you look at the last couple of games, he scored a couple of goals. I think he was 3 assists in the match against Dunfermline, so maybe with some game time he might be that number 9 we've been missing. I don't know if you think the same, Stevie.
I think it's a difficult one. First of all, I really like Danilo. I'm biased. I know him, get on with him really well, so I really like Danilo. I think that Danilo's movement is the best we have at the club, and I would point to a couple of occasions last season when you look at I believe it was Motherwell, the cup semi-final, League Cup semi-final against Motherwell. We were 1-0 down at half-time. Andy Halliday had scored. And you look at his involvement in putting Rangers ahead 2-1. Now, I can't remember, I don't think he scored, but it was his movement for the first goal, which was what really impressed me. He's made the difference. When you look at that Dundee game when Barry was in charge and we were 2-1 down, he came on and he was involved in the build-up. I just think that his link-up and build-up is a lot better than any of the other ones that we've got, but he's not as technically or as good as Eagleman, for example. Now, Cyril is everyone's love-hate relationship because he's got a fantastic record. We love him to bits, and in the same sentence you're going, what in the name of goodness did you just do there? But I think that Barry did wonderfully well with Raskin, but he also done brilliantly with Cyril Dessers, because Dessers really came on in the last. I think he scored, and he did in fact score in all post-split games. We've not had a player do that in a very long time, and I think he's capable. But the problem is there's probably too much baggage around Cyril Dessers, in my opinion, for the support wise. Because as soon as he misses one, the support are right on him.
Yeah.
Do we need a number 9, boys? Now that I've kind of tried to dodge a question as much as possible, the answer is yes. We probably do. We also need a goalie. We probably need a left back. We probably need another centre back and some more wingers. But it's prioritising which do we really need. My opinion on it is, unless one of them leaves, then you're not going to replace them. You would go with what you've got, and that's because I think there's other areas. I think we need another winger as a priority. I think we need another centre half as a priority before you look at a 9. I think even a goalkeeper, you could argue there is much risk as playing Butland, for example, than there is in Cyril Dessers in my kind of thinking about it. Which one's more vital? Which one do you have to go and evaluate? And it's all going to be great until, Jack Butland throws one in or Cyril Dessers misses a chance and then Russell Martin will get it in the neck. But there's only so much you can do. In an ideal world, to kind of sum up, I'm rambling, apologies. In an ideal world, yes, I would love to go and get somebody like Turgeman because I think he's really grabbed my attention, YouTube clips and all that. I think fantastic. I would love to go and get somebody exciting like that. Now, if Higaman or Dessers did go, that's the route I would love to go down. So yeah, in an ideal world, yes, I do think we need a 9, but it has to be if somebody else comes out. I don't think spending money on a fourth 9 when we're only going to play one in that position is what we need at this moment in time.
Yeah, what about yourself, Baz, on that one, mate? What's your thoughts?
I totally agree with everything Stevie has said there. You're right about Dessers. Dessers could score 10 games in a row and score and miss one open net and he gets hammered again and nobody wants him here and they want him all out. No, Dessers can't do right for doing wrong. He's just one of them players. Danilo, I love Danilo. I think technically, I think the way he moves, the way he tries to join in with the play is absolutely top drawer. Do I believe Danilo is a central number 9 who can get you maybe up to 30 goals? I'm not so sure because Danilo does miss the odd wee half easy chance as well. Doesn't get the same stick as Dessers, but then Dessers is primarily mostly on the pitch, so he gets the most viewers. He gets the most viewings every time because he's always available. Eggman, I would love to stay. I think if we got another really good year out of him, Stevie, would probably see a hell of a lot better than what we did last season. I know Barry at times didn't play Eggman. He sort of brought him off the bench or maybe played him out wide left. I'd like to see Eggman play as a central striker. I actually think him and Danilo could have a very, very good partnership. I think them two together would be good. I think going back on the Dessers thing, I personally think Dessers. I think with the negativity that has surrounded him, I think Dessers wants to go. I think he wants to move on now. I don't think Dessers can cope with that pressure cooker of the fans, of that high demand, Stevie, week in, week out. Because to be honest, a lot of clubs, you don't get that. If you're maybe a mid-table team in the Premier League, for example, you're not expecting your goal scorer to get 30 goals. If he contributes maybe 18 to 20, that's a good season. At Rangers, we demand our number 9 to score the goals Ali McCoist did. We still go back to them days of that natural goal scorer who scores tons and tons of goals. And some would argue Dessers' goal return over the last 2 seasons has been extremely high. But what I would say on that one is we create that many chances, Stevie. And at times he is going to miss. And unfortunately, the support, I don't think Dessers can turn it around enough to get 110% support all the time. I think Dessers will leave this window if the opportunity arises.
Interesting, because just to quickly jump in, see what I was saying about the baggage thing, I think that's spot on. I think it's the same probably with Jack. Jack could have a tremendous 3-4 months and make one mistake and everybody will be like, told you we should have got rid of him. So it's a really difficult one for Russell Martin. Tav is right in their discussion. It's amazing that Russell Martin's come into a position where the captain, there's so much dubiety around him, and the guy that scored 50 goals in 2 seasons is pretty much not liked either. What I will say about Cyril, I agree with you. It's true though, like genuinely.
I know it's you're laughing because you're like it's I know it's a case.
When you put it like that, it's kind of unbelievable. But you're right about Cyril. He's durable. He's always available. And what I would say about him as well is that, see, last season when other people weren't there and players weren't available and we weren't creating chances, Cyril was. So yeah, he was missing, but he was always there. He's always there to take one to miss one to go and take 3, 4, whatever it is. And people talk about that Dundee game, and yeah, he missed 9 chances on his 10th one he finally scored. Yeah, but he kept going, and that's the whole point. He's probably got the exact mentality you need at Rangers Football Club to succeed. He just hasn't been able to get that kind of recognition that he deserves as such, because I don't think he's had any help apart from Czerny last year. Who else was scoring goals for Rangers? Nobody from the middle. There was nobody from the from wide left. Centre backs didn't pop up with anything, and this is what I was talking about, corners and things like that. It was Cyril or it was Czerny, and you didn't really have anybody else. That's a big thing that I hope Russell Martin can fix, and we need a couple more, as I said. But it looks a wee bit more. You've got the threats now coming from the middle and stuff like that. So it's going to be interesting. But the number 9, honestly, boys, it goes for my own opinion on it. We have got so many issues in that team, and they've been left in such a bad shape that Russell Martin came into 11 where he could feasibly, really easily have gone, yeah, we need a player in every single position. So he's had to look at that and go, right, I've got a budget, I've got a massive squad, I need to get players out, but I need players in. Where do I need to prioritise? And I think he's done the spine of the team, and now he's looking to the wing. So if we don't get a 9, I firmly won't hold it against them, because I do think that there was just such a massive job to do. We can only do so much.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with the comment as well about who else was scoring. Rangers have always had strikers that miss chances. That's just what happens as a striker. There's no striker in the world who won't miss chances. But the problem for us was every game we played, you weren't winning games 3-0. If you were winning them, it was 3-2. It was 4-3. It was like a man scoring a hat-trick at Easter Road and you still coming away with a draw. Do you know what I mean? So if they were, if Dessers was missing a chance in a 3-1 win with other midfielders getting you goals as well and already misses a chance, people don't really look at that. But when you're needing every single chance you take because you don't create that many and you concede a lot in the back, you have to score every single chance you get at Rangers or at the minute, or else you don't come out with winning games. I think that's what the frustration was with the fans as well, because like Ali McCoy's maybe a wee bit, from my time, I don't watching old videos and stuff, he missed the chances himself at the end of the day. We know the songs that were sung, but the difference was we had a lot of class players around him that could have, got those 3-1 wins and 4-1 wins, and he didn't have to score every single shot, So I would give Dessers a bit of credit that way, but I do agree with you guys, the baggage is there, we know that with the fans, and it's hard to turn that around. And the next chance he misses, people will be going, there we go, should have got rid of him, we didn't, blah, 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 and he'll be the fall guy, we know that anyway. Just another comment as well. Both of you want to get your comments on Barry here. He's not a big Kieran Dowell fan. Everyone on the show knows this. But Colin is asking, is Kieran Dowell going to have a big part to play under Martin? It looks like he might suit his style of play. So interesting to know. Any of you want to take that up first, and we'll get your comments on that one. But it looks like he might have a chance. I don't know, but it looked to me that he was definitely going back to Birmingham. That's what I thought was going to happen. But he's definitely getting some game time.
I'll give the negativity. Stevie can hit the positive spin on it.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of Kieran Dowell. I don't dislike Kieran Dowell. It's just that, and I know he's had injuries, etc. But the times that I've watched Kieran Dowell, for my liking, he goes missing too often. I don't think Kieran Dowell has the natural quality to play at the level that we're looking to go to. Now, I could be wrong. Russell Martin may see something else in Kieran Dowell with his system of play. Maybe the system of play that we've been playing for the last 2 or 3 years hasn't suited Kieran Dowell. I don't know, but I can only go on what I've seen him in a Rangers shirt. At this moment in time, I don't think Kieran Dowell would be in a starting 11 for me. I honestly don't. Maybe we talked about squad players, Stevie, earlier on, and you mentioned how crucial squad players are. I wouldn't mind Kieran Dowell being a squad player who maybe needed to make an impact with half an hour to go or something like that. But I just think if we're going to wrestle the title away, I personally don't think he would be in my first 11. And that's just going on what I've seen and what I've watched him. I know he had a good season down with Birmingham. I'd actually thought the pressure off him at Rangers and going to Birmingham let him flourish a wee bit better. But that won't change coming back to Ibrox, Stevie. There's too many fans on your back. It's like the Dashers, it's like the Tavernier. It doesn't matter. One bad pass from Dowell, everybody was screaming to get him off the pitch. I know Russell Martin likes him, maybe, and I know he's talked about Stevie. I don't know if this is 100% true about the leadership group. He's involved him in a leadership group. That's good, and I think that's a good thing because experienced players with younger players, that's what you need. You need that leadership in our football club. And if Dowell can make a presence in that, and maybe from the bench, that's where I personally see him going forward.
Well, I think you're right. I don't disagree because you said something there, and this is the same for every single person. We haven't seen enough of him to be convinced about his quality. And even when you look at the Bruges game, and what Rangers did really nicely, and I spoke to Russell Martin about this afterwards, was they freed the number 8s quite a bit. Now, if you remember back to that game, Raskin had a couple of efforts, and so did Dowell. But the difference between Raskin and Dowell is Raskin took the opportunities on, Dowell didn't. He wasn't willing. He always put it to his left, or he tried to make a pass. Instead, what I want to see from that position is somebody being ballsy enough to go and have a shot. Now, I don't care if you leather it 20 yards over the bar. I would rather you did that than just passed it sideways or hit your front man trying to do something with it. And Kieran Dowell, for me, they're the kind of positions in a friendly game where I'm looking for him to show that ability and that confidence to go and play for Rangers, go and make it happen. So, yeah, for me, I'm with you. I mean, it's not a dislike of Kieran Dowell. We just simply haven't seen enough quality for us to be able to go, yeah, I'm looking forward to him being a part of it. That's up to Russell Martin. Russell Martin will live and die by these situations, Baz. But I'm with you. Like I think the key point in it, and regardless of what our opinion is, we have not seen enough of Kieran Dowell doing good things for Rangers to be able to say, yeah, let's look forward to what he's doing. You have to trust Russell Martin. He did. You're right. He was mentioned as being part of the leadership group. I also mentioned it before. I'd seen him actually in a meeting after training with Tav, John Suter, Liam Kelly. So it's undoubted that he's in there and amongst that. But he's got to do. It goes back to the kind of thing that I've said in the summer as well about Cortez, and Danilo falls into his bracket as well. You have to show the desire to go and want to play for Rangers. And that means, like, it's all right, you can go on the pitch and you can be nice and you can be tidy and pass the ball side to side and almost go under the radar. But I want players that are going to, the 60% chances, the 60% tackles, and the ones that you don't have the chances, go and make that happen. Go and make it work for Rangers. Go and be brave enough to wear our shirt and brave enough to go and perform at these levels. Because I felt previously we haven't had those players. So Kieran Dowell, for me, I'm totally with you, Baz. I think that's the best point, actually, on Kieran Dowell. We haven't seen enough from him to justify having any kind of faith in him so far. So it's up to him to go and show that desire and want to be able to play for Rangers.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree with you again there, lads. I agree with you on the Dow thing. If you're just watching what parts we have seen, and what we have seen hasn't been good enough. Down Birmingham, the fans seem the last season he's done well for them, but can he bring that up to us? I don't know. I'm just looking at it and thinking it's a bit of I don't know the wage. It's rumoured that it's quite high for what we pay out wage-wise for him. So if it is, I would rather us use that elsewhere. But listen, Russell Martin wasn't the manager most of us wanted in the first place. That's just the facts. But it's like everything. If Rangers are winning and he's playing well and everything's going good, then the support will 100% get with anything Russell Martin decides. That's just the way it is. And if results don't come, it'll go the other way, and we'll be another manager again in the next 2 or 3 years, and all restarting again. But hopefully that isn't the case. Stevie, I want to ask you a question on the Panathinaikos game. Now, Rangers, we've had a problem, as you know, Baz as well, mate. Anyone listening will know. Every season, it's been a whole rebuild job. Champions League qualifiers have always came too early. We're trying to get everybody filtered in. The same has happened again, and hopefully we won't be repeating this process in the next few seasons. Hopefully we're starting to build something that will actually stick this time. But do you think maybe it'll come a wee bit too early, Stevie, the Panathinaikos match?
It's a real danger, isn't it? Got to be honest. It's a real danger. Especially when, you look at the volume of their kind of quality. I think they're a decent side. Now, they're not as good as Olympiacos, and we did do well against them, but we were also at that point up and running. in the season and stuff like that? Are we potentially a bit undercooked going into this game? It's a huge danger. It really is. My biggest worry is that Russell Martin needs time and he won't get it, because there's a lot of people with preconceived ideas out there already that he'll fail and we'll be looking for another manager by Christmas. I don't think that helps, and I'm not a patient guy. I really am. But if I can see things going the right direction, then I'll stick with it. And I think we need to, one of the things you said is totally correct. We can't have another summer where in 6 months' time we need to fix the mistakes of this summer. We can't have that. We need to have something that is a grounding. So we bought 7 players in. You need 5 of them to be absolutely spot on hits. Likewise, you need to get to January with those 7 with them still vibing and doing well for the club. So this Panathinaikos game is a huge challenge. It's twofold though, because see if Russell Martin does manage to get a result and we go past them, all of a sudden, boom, everybody's flying, aren't they? Or the atmosphere's good. We're going into the Motherwell first games of the season. Everyone's positive. So it's a twofold thing for Russell Martin with regards to Panathinaikos. I really hope they can do it. I am with you. I mean, there's a real danger it's come too quickly. We're going to need the likes of Gassama and Rothwell and things to fit in and go quickly. We were really, really positive. The standout boys, honestly, I said this on a pod as well, the standout at training things is Telo Asgard by a mile. Quality, running beyond, finishing. There was a shooting drill and he was just finishing all the time. And then he played and scored in the bounce pass. And I was asked about this on the pod, and did he go off? Was he taken off injured? And that? He didn't. He walked off. He walked off and he was absolutely, on appearance, he seemed fine, and what I was told he was fine. And then Rangers confirmed yesterday that he has indeed picked up a knock. So, yep, that's just curse, isn't it? They don't think it's too bad. Fingers crossed it's not too bad. But if he wasn't to play against Panathinaikos, he would be a real loss already. So we just need to, honestly, I'm really, really hopeful for Russell Martin that it works out. He's such a likeable guy, but that doesn't make any difference when it comes to on the pitch. We all know that it needs results, but if we can get a result there, start off quickly. It's also important for Europe. I think if we get a result in this one, we're guaranteed Europa League football. But if we don't, we have to go through their qualifiers. If you get through this one, and then you've got another round to get through in the Champions League, and then you get your backup, your parachute kind of £5 million payment from Champions League to the Europa. I've got to be honest, and I always try and say, no, we should be winning and we should be doing this. See if they can get through a couple of rounds in the Champions League, I'll be overjoyed. But next season, when we're ready to go in the summer, I'd quite like us to be, a well-oiled machine where you only need 2 or 3 and we can pick things up and kind of go from there. But yeah, Panathinaikos is a dangerous game. Really, really dangerous game. It'll need to be some night Ibrox on Tuesday. Good atmosphere, good crowd, and hopefully we can go and give it a real good go.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on that, Baz? I think Stevie sort of nailed it there everywhere again, mate. But yeah, it's the same sort of situation, isn't it? You want everything to happen right now, but if you're being realistic, it won't. But it's just hoping everything falls at least into place for the game against Panathinaikos at Ibrox and give us something to at least sort of hold going over there.
Well, the reality is when the new owners took over with the board, they're under no illusion that the Champions League qualifier was coming very quickly, and I know they'll have definitely looked at that. But to be fair, I've said this for the last number of days. I actually think we've recruited very well considering how close this Champions League game is. I think we've done very, very extremely well in the first opening part of the window, because it's a very... Summer windows are difficult because a lot of players are looking to go on holiday. They're looking to take time off. So the fact that we have got in with these players relatively early and got them into Ibrox and got them training very quickly, I think speaks volumes for what the board's actually currently doing. I think in seasons gone by, we probably wouldn't have been able to do that. So in my personal opinion, that's a positive. That's a positive that I've seen from the board straight away. In terms of the Panathinaikos game, at the end of the day, Panathinaikos have no idea what we were going to play. I know their manager's on talking about he thinks we've got a style and all. Like Stevie, you know yourself, nobody's been very much privy to these games, so I don't know how he's got in there to see them. So but that's mind games. That's trying to get in the heads of us straight away to play something. They have no idea, and I actually think that will be a beneficiary. Tell us on Tuesday night that the fact is, like, let's be honest, Stevie. None of us. We're all sitting here. You've been privy to some snippets of bits of training and stuff, but nobody knows how we're going to start the first 11 on Tuesday night. They don't know the full system. So Panathinaikos will have no idea. They'll know an hour before kickoff. And if they can sum something up within an hour, fair play to them. Ibrox is going to be crucial on Tuesday night. The crowd will be up for it, Stevie, especially with the new owners and these new players and stuff. I think the crowd's going to be very, very loud and very noisy. And I hope the players respond to that, and I'm sure they will. But we really need to be taking... I would suspect we'd need to have a 2-goal lead going to the away game. If we're going to get through this tie, I would like to see at least a 2-goal, whether it's 3-1, 2-0, who cares? Because the away game of Panathinaikos will be a tough game. There's a lot of heat over there. It's hot in the summer, so the players are going to have to be well oiled and drilled for that. But I can see us getting through that. I think some of the players that we've brought in, to see the likes of Rothwell, he will be crucial in a game like that. You see breaking up that play in the 6, he is going to be absolutely crucial. I watched him, Stevie, last season when he played for Leeds, and his eye for the ball, his coordination around the pitch, just sitting in the front, the two centre halves is really, really good. And I think when we're playing a Champions League game, retaining the ball is going to be massive, because that's the only way you can press forward and make good movement is by holding the ball and not having to chase it all the time. So, and by the way, I just want to put a thing in there. I actually think Rothwell will be one of the best signings throughout the whole season. I think he's going to be another Ryan Jack. He's a top player. I think we've got a really, really good chance. And if Ibrox does what it normally does, I think it could be a special night. It's just the away game. The away game slightly concerns me. That's the only issue I have. But I think if we can win at home and win well, the world's your oyster. Stevie made a good point there for next season. You want to be progressing, and we will do that. I just hope the Rangers fans give Russell Martin and the boys every opportunity, even with this Champions League game, that there's going to have to be development. These players are going to have to start to learn to gel together, and you don't do that in a couple of weeks. You're not going to see the best of this Rangers team probably towards maybe at September or October, when they've had some games in the SPFL, and they're playing week in, week out with European games.
I remember Philippe Clement telling me not to wait the October and things got worse. So hopefully that doesn't happen again.
Well, Philippe's no longer there. I don't think we need to worry about
that. No, but I'm excited for this season as well. No, I am, lads. I think if we're being honest here, Rangers were going nowhere and nowhere fast. It's been a long decade supporting our club, Rangers, and we love doing it, and we're addicted to it. We know that. But it was going nowhere under the last board for different reasons, and that's not the stick at them. It's just the facts. And it's good to see the new owners and stuff have come in and give us that wee bit of excitement again. But I just hope the supporters are a wee bit realistic too. It won't happen overnight. Yes, they come in with a lot of pedigree and big money and stuff. But when it comes to Rangers, you can't just go and buy whoever you want straight away and be 11 players from PSG playing Panathinaikos here and going, right, it's going to take us time to build it up and sell players, and eventually you get better sponsorship deals and you'll get better players in the long run. So it is going to take time. So I just hope, Stevie, if things don't go well against Panathinaikos, the majority of the support don't down tool straight away. And I don't think they will. I think most supporters will know that, if you get through this tie, brilliant. If you don't, we try not to get too down on it, obviously, because it's just basically it's a work in progress thing, But it's one of, I don't know if you think the same on that, Stevie. I know you will get ones in the sport will go mad, as if it doesn't work out, but it's trying to be patient.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think when you look at Russell Martin, and you look at everything that Southampton fans have said, and even Swansea fans have said, and things like that with Russell Martin, that I think as well, I think I read this properly, that he kind of lost the first 4 games and things at Southampton and previous clubs as well, MK Dons and stuff. So we just need to, we genuinely just need to try and be patient. And I'm not going to sit here and say I'm the world's worst. David and I remember having a conversation with David in the car on the way back from a game in early December under Phil come on and saying this isn't going to work, and having to try and stick with it, and then I don't want that to happen again, because you normally get a sense of it really early about how this is going to go, and your gut feeling tells you. I really hope that we do give him time, because it's such a change in style and player that we're attracting and going in for. So Russell Martin's attempting something, and I think he acknowledges that as well. So the demands of what we can't do, lads, is, and I honestly believe this, we can't get to October and everything to be out the park again, having lost an old firm and be too far behind and too far out of the picture in Europe. There's got, even if in bad results and defeats and things will come, but if we can see a general progression, fans will stick with it and they'll go with it as long as they can see. I mean, they stuck with Steven Gerrard for 3 seasons before he got it right, but we hit milestones. Ufa qualifying for the Europa, beating Celtic finally at New Year, first time in years. This has to be a steady progression of that under Russell Martin. So I hope that he gets the time, I hope that he gets the chance, and I hope that he shows us a progression level that we can all get behind. And I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do what I've never done, which is try and be patient with him and give him that opportunity. So I really hope that it works, because, by the way, we've wanted for so long a style, an attacking formation. We've wanted entertainment. He's going to try and do that. So in order to do that, it's quite a big swing change from us. So in order for him to do that, he needs to be given time. So let's hope he does. And Panathinaikos is a big one. Like Baz says, if you can get a couple of goal lead, with going over there as well, it's not their home ground, which I believe,
Yes,
they've
right.
got. It's a major disadvantage. They say it's not as noisy, it's not as passionate and things. There's a running track round the pitch, and it's very withdrawn, whereas their stadium, it's right on top of you. So if Rangers can get the right result next week, and with Baz there, you need a couple of goals. You can get that, then immediately it just lifts everybody. And a couple of early results like that, and Russell Martin will fly. And I think he'll start strongly, and the positivity will be high. We've just got to hope that happens. And Rothwell, by the way, Baz, I'm very hopeful as well. He will sit and he will be your number 6. He'll be the boy that delivers free kicks and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'd like to think that he'll be a big player for us as well. I do like the thought of him in there. It's just going to need to wait and see how that works out.
Yeah, it was what it was. Stevie was saying there, Baz, which is correct. We're talking about patience and stuff, but as long as you're seeing that progression, you'll go with it. I see a lot of people in the comments sort of basically saying, look, under Gerrard, things didn't happen straight away, but at least we've seen a style of play. We've seen things happen. We've seen signing better players, and we've seen that progression, and knew where the end game was coming to, and the patience were there. So I think if Martin's something similar in his squad, he'll get the same.
Absolutely. If you look at previous regimes, especially with Philippe Lamont, there was no progression. It was all bang hit the wall stuff. There was no change in any type of style from Philippe. I just thought we got to the point where every week we were playing, we were near dreading to watch the match, because we knew what we were going to play. This season we're going to play a much more attacking style. That will cause counter-attacks quite a lot. Some of the teams with the pacier wingers and stuff will get in behind us better. I think that's why Russell has identified good defensive players, so that when we are counter-attack, we've got the defensive players to mop it up quite quickly. That's going to be crucial, especially when we play the bigger teams who hold a bit more of the ball. We're going to be a wee bit more under the cosh with the counter-attack. But yeah, absolutely. Totally agree with Stevie on everything he said. What I would say is, if you look when Barry Ferguson came in with them last group of players, it was a similar sort of thing. Leaking 2 goals within the first 10 to 15 minutes, week in, week out, and they're the sort of things that we needed to identify, which I personally believe with some of the players that Russell has brought in, that's what he's identified too. The big lad from Wolves, I think he's going to be a smasher this year, Stevie. He really does look the real deal. For me, if we get the right pairing with him, whether it's a John Suter or whether it's Tavernier at times, whether it's if Connor Cody does eventually come to Rangers, could it be that sort of a player? I don't know. But I do think the attacking style, I'm looking forward to it. I think if we're playing high press, the fans will be off the seats most of the time, especially with these tricky wingers that we're bringing in. I think it'll be fantastic. The young Norwegian lad Theo, what's his second name? Stevie Asegard, is it?
Asegard,
is it?
doesn't.
Asegard. From going from what you're saying, I haven't seen much of him, Stevie, but that sounds exciting as well from what you've seen in training. That's the sort of player, Stevie, that'll get the bums off the seats, get the crowd, get the momentum going, and roar us on to victory, because that's all Rangers fans want. And ultimately, we want to see trophies, and ultimately, we want to be successful. And I think that's why sometimes some of the fans do get very disgruntled. And hopefully, we can change that this season.
Yeah, 100%. Well, just Stevie as well, mate, just while you're on, it's a big thank you from us for you coming on, mate, because over here, sometimes we do feel a wee bit forgot about you. I mean, when you're in Northern Ireland, you're travelling to the games, you're coming back and stuff. But the likes yourself to come on here, mate, and to have a chat with us, we really, really appreciate it, mate. It's been good fun. And the people commenting as well who are regulars just have been enjoying it, mate. So it's been good fun. Hope you've enjoyed coming on yourself.
Listen, honestly, I'll come on whenever you want. I love speaking to everybody. I know how big our fan base is over in Northern Ireland. I'm actually coming over next year, playing a live show at Belfast Rangers Supporters Club in Barrington Street, just in the city.
Oh, nice one.
We're coming over to do a live show on the 28th of March. So really looking forward to that. A really good friend of mine, David Graham, has arranged that. David, who used to work with the club, fantastic guy. So we're going to do that, and just being able to speak to you guys and come on has been a pleasure. So honestly, you've got such a good thing here, without sounding bad, but keep going. The Facebook page, the numbers of supporters and everything is brilliant. So there's a great community here, and to be asked to come on or invite myself on, I'm still not quite sure how it happened. But to be able to do that, honestly, and speak to you boys has been a pleasure. So, if anybody ever wants to speak to me or that, you can get in contact with me on socials, and hopefully I'll come back on and speak to you again soon. But it's been a pleasure, boys, honestly. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, mate, and you're welcome at anytime on the show. You'll always be made more than welcome. If you let us know, even private messages, Stevie, about that show near the time and stuff, we'll make sure we'll get it sent across, and hopefully we'll actually be able to go to that as well and give you a bit of support. That won't be good to sit and actually shake your hand and see you then. What about yourself, Baz? It's been good having Stevie on, hasn't it, mate?
It's absolutely fantastic. I watch the Four Lads Had a Dream podcast quite regularly, and it's a great show, Stevie. I'm not trying to blum smoke up your ass or anything like that. I'm not trying to do that, but it's genuine. It's a great show, and the boys you have on talk real good sense. I love sitting listening and watching until it, and hopefully we're trying to implement something similar, but coming from the Northern Ireland perspective. We're trying to represent as much as we can the boys over here and try and get some of their views over. We've started recruiting some of the more local lads in the background of the team. They don't come on here, but they're doing a lot of work for us with the Facebooks and the socials and contacting all the Rangers supporter clubs over in Northern Ireland. So we're doing a lot of work in the background, Stevie, that a lot of guys aren't actually seeing. I'm sure you'll understand that yourself, of what you do and what you run. So we do look at like yourself and David at Heart and Hand. We look at you usually the pinnacle, and we're not trying to get up to you, but what we're trying to do is just make sure the voice from this country and Northern Ireland gets the same exposure as the fans, from Scotland and further afield.
As I said, it's honestly brilliant. You should keep doing that, and it's important that the kind of community from Northern Ireland is recognised as well, because it's such a big part. So many people come over for games and so many supporters over there. So yeah, look, genuinely, I love it. I love the community side of it from over there. So definitely do that. There's, if you ever need anything, just give us a shout, as we said. And we can even get you guys over, do a crossover, come on Four Lads and stuff like that and talk about it on there. So more than welcome. And it genuinely, as I said, been a privilege. So I really appreciate it. And thanks for everybody that's kind of watched and commented and things like that. And hopefully, everybody has a good rest of the week. And I think Rangers got a bounce game coming up. I think we play Hamilton. I'm not quite sure when, but hopefully we can get another result there and then get ready for Panathinaikos on Tuesday, because that's what we're all looking forward to.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thanks again, Stevie, for coming on. Nice comments as well, always, mate, and great content. Baz as well for coming on, buddy. Everybody's liking. You got a few comments there in the shed, the background, so people are enjoying that as well, mate. I'll need to sort mine out here now. I'll try and bring it up to scratch to the likes that you two guys are.
I'm in a cupboard under the stairs. Baz is the one that's miles ahead. He's got the proper thing. Like I've been chucked in a cupboard under the stairs so that the kids can play in peace. But no, Baz, it does look cracking, mate. I'll need to get my game up.
Thanks very much, David.
But as always, everyone, thanks for coming on. And listen, I'm sure everyone who's listening and watching anyway will know Stevie and has been on for lads. But if you aren't, get on to it and give them support. You always get great content, even before games and stuff as well. It's always really good to watch. So thanks anyone who has been listening. We'll be back with you again our normal slot at 5 p.m. Monday. That's what we're aiming for anyway. We might actually have, I think, Baz, the Rangers Journal on.
Yeah, the Rangers Journal's coming on Monday. One of their, I think it's Billy. You might know Billy from the Rangers Journal. We're hopeful that he's going to be on Monday, so fingers crossed.
Okay, and as I say, look, this is what the show's all about. It's hands across the water, and we're reaching our hand out, and the likes of Stevie's giving the hand back again and coming on. We'd love to come on to your show anytime, Stevie. Just let us know, and we'd love to do a crossover with you. It would be good for us as well, mate, and to get a wee Ulster voice on your wee show as well. So we'll speak to you all again soon, guys. Thanks.